3 people are displaced after a house fire in Green Bay Friday. Crews responded just after 2 p.m. in the 800 block of Neufeld Street. Firefighters say smoke and flames were coming from the roof of a single-story 2-family house when they arrived. No one was home at the time of the fire. Further searches revealed that the origin of the fire was in the attic near an overheated kitchen fan. Crews were able to extinguish the fire in about 12 minutes. The specific cause of that fire remains under investigation, but damages are estimated to be around $20,000.